lot of rhetoric about combating the culture of tolerating police corruption in this country over the past few days, over the past week. And it's in that atmosphere that I'm here to say that the district attorney right here in Westchester County has failed us. Over 1 year ago, more than a year ago, the Westchester DA, the current Westchester DA, was giving reportings that raised credible allegations about police corruption and brutality right here in Westchester County in Mount Vernon. 9 months later, his own investigator admitted that they had not even started investigating the case. They were waiting for more recordings. That is inaction that is dangerous. That is unacceptable. It was unacceptable then, and we see now in this climate, in this culture, in this reckoning, why it is unacceptable and why it is so dangerous. They continued building cases. The DA continued building other cases based on the officers, detectives against whom these allegations were made. Serious cases that now will be in jeopardy. That is why this makes us all less safe. If you have credible allegations against police officers, as was the case with these reportings, you cannot continue to do business as usual and build cases based on them. Because now, if those cases are overturned, serious criminals could go free. And we are all less safe because of it. The DA answer to that is to say, well, people who were charged in further cases can come forward now and make claims about their innocence. That is unacceptable. We don't wait for innocent people to be convicted and then turn around and look back. We have to prevent it. We have to be proactive. And as we see from the people gathered here today, this coalition of elected officials, community activists, people from the community, the public has lost faith in this district attorney's ability to handle allegations of police corruption and misconduct. And therefore, I am asking the well-respected Attorney General of the state of New York, Letitia James, to take over this case and to investigate how this district attorney has handled this investigation. The public needs to have faith in these very serious cases and investigations. That is the only way we can move forward as a community, as a country in this time. That is my call to action. Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to have Damon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Damon Jones. I am the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. And I'm standing here in support of Mimi Rocah's statement about the current Westchester County District Attorney, Anthony Scarpino. I have over 30 years in law enforcement. I have family in law enforcement. And when you hear that a law enforcement officer went to the district attorney's office with tapes of other law enforcement officers, we always ask, where are the good cops? Why aren't the good cops speaking up against the bad cops? Not only did he speak up, but he took evidence to the district attorney's office, and nothing was done. I myself personally met with Anthony Scarpino 4 times on different issues of corruption and abuse of power in Mount Vernon, and yet he did nothing. So we are here to say enough is enough, and I agree that the New York State Attorney General must just not look into this complaint, but do a thorough review of the Mount Vernon Police Department, of the actions of just some of the officers. We're not saying all officers are bad. There are a lot of great cops in the city of Mount Vernon. But when you have a few, and when you have failed accountability of those few, it hinders the good work that the good cops are trying to do. We are in a state of turmoil throughout the country because of issues of this right here. Elected officials not doing their job and holding law enforcement accountable to policies, procedures, and training. So again, I stand with Mimi in calling the New York Attorney General to investigate these complaints and look into these complaints, because we cannot let good cops be silent no more. Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Jeffrey Deskovic, and I was wrongfully convicted right here in this courtroom. I spent 16 years in prison wrongfully convicted of a murder and rape which I did not commit. Prosecutorial misconduct was a major factor in my wrongful conviction. What's happened here is very reminiscent of my case, in which the then District Attorney's Office had information that the medical examiner was engaging in fraud, had been complained of, and they sat on the information, did not turn it over to my attorneys. Here in this situation, similarly, the District Attorney's Office had information as late as February of 2019 that officers were framing innocent people, yet nothing was done. There's a bill which would repass the Commission on Prosecutor Conduct, an independent oversight board. This incident illustrates why that's so critical, so that there could be an independent oversight board to hold prosecutors accountable, to be a deterrence and to offer a place where wrong defendants can go to receive justice. Look what's happened. There is exculpatory material which was withheld. The Westchester Legal Aid Society reported they received no information about any problem of any of the officers in Mount Vernon, who were talking about framing innocent people. The recent law that went into effect, the discovery law, which myself and other advocates fought so hard for, imposed a continuing obligation of discovery reform. Anything exculpatory was supposed to be turned over. That violation happened also. The material was not turned over. District Attorney Scarpino has no conviction review unit, and his rationale is that there are no wrongful convictions here in Westchester. This illustrates that there are. Not only that there are, but that he knows about it, but he was silent about it. Selwyn Days, a Mount Vernon man who was exonerated. District Attorney Scarpino's office retried him a 5th time, even though there was information putting him in North Carolina. His office refused to meet with the exoneration initiative. I call for each and every prosecutor in the Westchester DA's office, each and every district attorney investigator who knew about this, who did nothing, they should all be fired. I call for each and every police officer in Mount Vernon who was involved in this, who knew about it and said nothing. I call for them all to not only be fired, but the officers engaging directly in framing innocent people should be criminally charged and given the most severe punishment allowable under the law. Lastly, I call for the voters here in Westchester on June 23rd. Let's fire DA Scarpino. He's violated the public trust, not only on this issue, but many others. Let's focus on this one. We need to have a new district attorney. How can anybody in the public have confidence that District Attorney Scarpino's office or he himself is going to do the right thing after this? Thank you.
Thank you. Lyndon?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shanae Williams. I'm the council member for the 1st District in the city of Yonkers. I'm standing here today because just a few days ago, just yesterday, many of the communities that the folks that I represent, we stood together, we marched with the police, and we were speaking out about the injustices that Black people have faced in this nation for centuries. And this is something that we see as a revolution that is happening all across America. At a time when people are getting ready to fight for their rights and speak up, we have to ask ourselves some serious questions. We have to look at our own communities and look in our own backyards and ask the question why? Why did the current DA's office not take these allegations seriously? Why was there no investigation? What is happening here? This type of corruption is not new to people like me who look like me. This is a serious matter, and we need change. I'm standing here with Mimi Rocah because I believe that she has the skill, she has the capabilities, she has the will and the power to do the right thing if she is in that office. And we need her there. We need change. We need to continue to push and get rid of the status quo because it is not working for us. So that is why I'm here, and I challenge every single person who is unaware of what is happening in Westchester County to read, to educate, to ask questions, to reach out to your elected officials and challenge us so that we can do better. We deserve better. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lyndon Williams. I'm the Westchester County Legislator for the City of Mount Vernon. I represent Mount Vernon, the residents who live there. And I can tell you that it's very troubling. It is very much damning, the allegations on the tape recording this morning that was reported on Gotham News about the misconduct in the Mount Vernon Police Department by some officers. And I want to say that by some officers because overall we have a tremendous good officers who serve the people of Mount Vernon. But we also have some bad apples. We also have some bad apples that need to be weeded out. And we depend upon the Westchester County District Attorney to do that job. That's his role. That's part of what he was elected to do. But that has not been done. He has failed us. It is very clear to us that the incidents that are occurring in that particular reporting this morning are not simply those. We have heard from Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, from our Commissioner Glenn Scott, about incidents that they have reported to the District Attorney's Office, and nothing has been done. It's always been a foot dragging that continues, and it has to stop. And it stops with the people of Westchester County. That's where it stops, because that's who he's reportable to. And when the people of Westchester County observe the kind of neglect, that's what it is, clear neglect from investigating and prosecuting crimes that occur in the city of Mount Vernon, I hope and I pray that they will say, no, this has to stop. And they say it stops at the ballot box. That's where it stops, June 23rd. And I can tell you this, that Mount Vernon, we are a city that's under a lot of challenges. Our police department are under a lot of resource challenges. And so we want to weed out the bad apples. We want the rotten apples in the barrel to be thrown out. We don't want them to infect the entire barrel. And we can only do that if we have the help and the assistance of law enforcement outside of Mount Vernon, like the District Attorney's Office. And I can tell you for a fact that the foot dragging that has occurred in the District Attorney's Office is not simply on one or two occasions. It continues. I, as a legislator, can tell you that in Memorial Field, the only 12-acre open space in the city of Mount Vernon, 51,000 tons of illegally dumped material was placed on that field. And it was reported, people have come forward to the District Attorney's Office with witness statements, with pictures, with other evidence. Ignored, until the statute of limitation ran out, and then he said, I can do nothing about it. Flip to Suffolk County in Long Island. Similar event, less dirt dump, illegal dirt dump. Suffolk County District Attorney prosecuted, investigated, prosecuted, and convicted the perpetrators of that dumping. That is an illegal environmental crime that occurred, that was ignored. And I can tell you this, it was ignored because it was in the city of Mount Vernon. And I said to our residents that you have a chance now to have your voices heard. That chance comes June 23rd. And my voice is going to be heard then, and their voice is going to be heard then. And I hope the whole of Westchester's voice is heard on that day. Thank you.
name is Tasha Diaz. I'm newly elected councilwoman to Yonkers, District 3, and I once was on the other side of the table. I understand people's fears and frustrations. As a wife, as a mother, I stood with my community. I wasn't always an elected official. I'm here because I was on the community side first. So I know the fears. I know what the community wants. The cries that have been unheard. They've been falling on deaf ears for so many years. So when I came into office, I vowed that those cries will be heard from here all the way to any halls that they need to be heard. For the simple fact that a lot of things are being swept under the carpet. And people don't realize when you can wrongfully convict people, especially people of minority districts, it cuts a little bit deeper because it doesn't stop just there. It's a trickle down effect. It goes down to the children. It goes down to the family. Because when those people are convicted, it's certain programs that they cannot get into because they have wrongful convictions. It's certain houses that they cannot get into because of wrongful convictions. So when you convict people wrongfully, it cuts deeper. It's a different kind of cut. Right now is the time for us to change. When I ran on diversity and I ran on transparency. I'm here because I fought for the people. The people stood with me. So I vow that I will stand with the people and make sure what needs to be done is done and the right changes will be implemented. When you walk through the minority communities, you feel the pain and the frustration. You feel the anger. And people say, why are they lashing out like that? It's because they haven't been heard for so many years. And it's a shame that it had to come to this in order for people to be heard. Now, I've always stood with my community. I fought in the backfields before I was an elected official. And I stood with certain people that had wrongful convictions. And a lot of people thank me for that because you know why? I was their voice. You know, I'm happy to say that they placed me here because I've seen it all. I've seen everything. I'm a lifelong Yonkers resident. It's nothing that anybody can tell me. Why? Because I've seen it. I've lived it. I've worked with certain people that should have been in state prison right now. But I fought with them and I stood with them. And what happened? They're not convicted. They're straight A students, college students, people that could have been, we don't know where they could have been right now. They could have been in state prison. These are the things that we need to change. And if you want positive change, this is a part of positive change. Rocah, I came out and I endorsed her. Why? Because a lot of people ran from her. Because they knew that was the right thing to do. And I felt your pain and your frustration. Because when I ran, they ran from me too. But you know what? The people stood with me. And that's why I'm here right now as your first woman of color for District 3. And I will continue to fight this fight for as long as God allows me to. And if you want change, come out June 23rd and vote for this woman right here. Because this will be the next step to change.
Catherine? Does Catherine want to speak?
I'm Catherine Borgia, County Legislator, representing Osney, Briarcliff, Peekskill, and Portland. I've supported Mimi since the beginning of her campaign, but I think we've really seen in the past months, and especially in the past week, that our systems have to change. This revelation today is unfortunately not astonishing. We know that things get swept under the rug. We know that there's inactivity and inaction, and the old way of doing things can't stand any longer. We need a positive change here. The people of Mount Vernon deserve it. The people of Westchester County deserve it. We need to look at things differently and do things differently. As an elected official, I need to be held accountable. As elected officials, we have to be challenged. We have to be told what's going on in the street, and we have to listen when we hear about things that are happening, that are not right, and that are not just. And that is why I am supporting Mimi Rocah. now and on the 23rd, and when she's a district attorney, my colleagues and I on the Board of Legislators will work with her, and we will challenge her, and she will challenge us to do what's right, and that's what Westchester deserves. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Derek Thompson. I am City Councilman of Mount Vernon, New York. And I just want to come here and say that Mount Vernon has too many pending transactions, if you will, just sitting there. And I come to say to Scarpino, your time is up. We're so thankful that there are terms in place. Your time is up, your term is up, and it's time for everyone to vote for Mimi Rocah, because we need people who are about their business and who are about the people of the community, and we need people who are in place to hold people accountable, because it's already a tough thing to actually come out and say someone did something wrong. And when you bring evidence and you try to hold people accountable and people at the top are not doing their job, it's a problem. And it's not okay for our communities. So it's time for us to step up, step out, get to those voting polls, do our part so we can allow Mimi to do her part. It's time for Scarpini to go, and it's time for Mimi to get in so we can be about our business. Thank you.
Since we have new people here, I'm going to speak again. People asked me back in December when I announced, why are you running? What did this DA do that's so bad? He's fine. What did he do that's wrong? It's not necessarily what he did, it's what he didn't do. That is why I'm running. This is why I'm running. And I think the world is starting, the country, this county is starting to understand why since December I've been talking about conviction integrity, real conviction integrity, not window dressing, pretending you have conviction integrity, but a real unit that looks for cases, that puts safeguards in place to make sure innocent people are not convicted. I've been talking about transparency. What we see in this case reported today is the opposite of transparency. The DA sat on these allegations. I'm not here to say a prosecution should or shouldn't have been brought at this point. I can't say that from my point of view. I'm a prosecutor by training. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have all the evidence. But what I see and hear on those recordings is credible evidence such that inaction is tolerating possible corruption. And that is what we cannot do anymore in Westchester, in New York State, in Minneapolis, in the United States. Because if we don't act on it, if we aren't proactive, then we are complicit. And if law enforcement is not part of the solution, we are part of the problem. The people you hear talking from communities about the anger and the hurt and the passion and the disgust, I feel all that too, I feel it. But the truth is, the change needs to come from within law enforcement. We need to bring the police along with us. And I really believe that is possible. That is something else that I will do that this DA has not even tried to do. I have friends in law enforcement, in the police here, who I worked with for over 5.5, 6 years. And I know that many of them will come to the table with us, with prosecutors, with advocates, with the community members, and work on solutions. But we need to bring them together. And I, as DA, will do that. I will be transparent. I will be proactive. I will not let corruption fester. And I will bring everyone to the table together to work on this problem. That is the only way we move out of this, and I believe that we can. Thank you. And I just want to say, again, because we have some new people here, that my call to action right now is for the well-respected Attorney General Letitia James, to take over the investigation of this case that was reported on today, and to investigate the district attorney's handling of that investigation. Because for over a year, they had recordings, they did nothing, and admitted after 9 months that they had not even started investigating it and did not make proper disclosure is possibly under the New York State discovery laws. So I am asking respectfully for the Attorney General to do that. The public does not have faith in this district attorney to continue it, and we need to rebuild faith in institutions. And the only way that's going to happen is if the public has faith in these investigations. Thank you.